Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Blake, here's the question. I know you're doing the green screen.
I got the green screen. No, this yeah. All right, it looks weird.
Okay, what is the hand gesture for Nanu Nanu?
It's been a while. All I know is live long and
well,
prosper. But what is I
prosper.
forget. It's been too long.
Let me ask you a different question. This is our question of the day. If you're not following us on X, follow us. We're at American_media_. And the other one is the unhappy hour _. Blake, who would you rather be in the woods with? A bear, a random man, Harrison Butker, or a jealous lady baller with cartoonish fake eyelashes? Who would you rather be in the woods with?
I'm gonna have to take Harrison Butker on that one. I don't. A random person. I got to think that Harrison Butker would be better than 90% at least of any just random men. A bear, unless it was like a trained bear. Otherwise, it could be a danger. What was the other one? A woman of what?
Yeah, we're having an ongoing conversation in our sports group. It's that jealous lady basketball player with the big eyelashes that hates Caitlin Clark.
Oh,
like they're here to see me too. And yeah, we ran into her and we knocked her over and called her a bitch. Like that's what we do here. These aren't her exact words and exact quote, right. But she's a very jealous. And so I said, yeah, I mean, you remember when Tiger Woods came into the PGA Tour and how he was yelled at, sworn at, people knocked into him, pushed him off of golf carts, punched him all the time. Oh, wait, that didn't happen when Tiger entered a league that looked nothing like him. But it's happening to Caitlin Clark. It's so interesting.
Well, one thuggish lady, one envious person.
It seems like a lot of the league is feeling a sort of way about her. And it's like, do you realize how many fresh spendable dollars they've brought to their eyeballs, the advertised, like the money that's going to be split up? Like, you should be excited for this.
Right, it's the best thing that happened to the WNBA.
I know, and they don't see it. They don't care enough to recognize when a gift is right in front of their face. And that's not to say this is like you should bow down and worship any lady or something, but like, enjoy the ride. Or this lady's going to leave your league and go play with Ice Cube. I think she has a $5 million deal on the table.
She makes way more money in way less time. Yeah.
Yeah, and way less racism and way less abuse. Like, just go play ball. Let them have their crap league. Like, I don't know. I'm starting to feel some sort of a way for Caitlin Clark because I think society has really degenerated into white hating. It's a topic.
Do you agree with Antonio Brown?
In what regard? I mean, I subscribe to so many of Antonio Brown's ideals and lifestyle choices. How can I narrow it down to just one? But which one are you referencing?
Well, she blocked him on Twitter.
Oh, who? Caitlin Clark?
Yeah.
I didn't even know this storyline. By the way, I am definitely against Antonio Brown's stance on jump kicking Cleveland Browns punters in the helmet. I oppose that stance. So I'm not sure what his other stances are. I do approve of his retiring at halftime thing. That's kind of interesting. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, that was an interesting stunt.
Yeah, Antonio Brown for sure. All right. Well, yeah, go vote on X in our Twitter poll. I know I said X Twitter poll, but put it up there. We got 6 days left on this. But yeah, I'm going to get back to doing more of the sports content. And there's a lot of times where these cultural issues kind of cross barriers, cross borders. And of course, we saw Brittany Griner at the center of a geopolitical shitstorm not too long ago, being traded for what was his name? Victor something, the Merchant of Death. We traded a lady baller for the Merchant of Death against Russia, who we are currently in a proxy war with.
Yep. Gun runner. And we let Gonzalo Lira die in Ukrainian prison. And we rescued Griner. Not that she deserved to be in there. I don't care if she had a vape pen, big BFD, but it's a different country, different laws. And they could use that as leverage against the United States. And then they got their, gun runner extraordinaire. The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death.
Well played. Well, yes.
Well, look, I want to talk to you. I want to talk about Fauci today. Obviously, that's going to be the number one story. Talk about, did the government always know that it was a lab leak? We're going to talk about what's going on down in Austin, Texas, with a certain radio broadcaster. Yeah. Kind of at wit's end right now. There's a lot going on. We'll see what that is all about, because some people are saying they went after Trump successfully. Now let's go after more lawyers in Arizona. Let's go after broadcasters in Texas. We can get away with any damn thing we want. Let's just keep pushing. Let's keep just using lawfare. Since nobody's standing up to the bully, let's just keep bullying people. We'll see what that's all about. Also, we want to talk about Joe Biden granting mass amnesty. We're going to talk about declassification of files like JFK, 9/11, and Epstein. And will the United States end up in anarchy with Trump as a dictator? But Blake, let's just jump to this topic here. By the way, Blake Walley can be found at TV's Blake Walley on X and thenextlevelnews.com. And if you would like to support independent journalism, here you go. He's on Cash App. You do that money sign Blake W99. Money sign Blake W99. I got to come up with like a jingle for that so that it resonates. But Blake, let's go ahead and do this. Let's start with the Hunter Biden story, because kind of like you were saying, as far as Brittany Griner, she's got a vape. Like what are we doing? Like what is the big deal here? Now Hunter Biden, this is a lot more complicated for a lot more, for many more reasons. Of course, there's the bribery, there's the blackmail, there's how did you get 51 intelligence officials to lie about the laptop that had all the evidence of this stuff, the gun crimes. You know, there's a difference between having a vape pen and being a crackhead, being setting yourself up in honeypot after honeypot, just on camera recording everything that you're doing, high as a kite on crack. Crack's a little different than a vape pen, but now here Hunter is facing some challenges, and it's like, well, is the deep state finally done with the Bidens? They would be protecting him if they were going to keep him. I feel like we only have a couple of months left to change their representative. What is going on with the Hunter Biden case? And do you think it's much ado about nothing? Do you think he deserves everything that's coming to him? Because if you're going to take out Trump, then take out Hunter. Like, if that's how we're playing, let's play. What say you?
Well, I guess I would say that I'm going to disagree on this particular question. The way it's phrased, does Hunter Biden deserve to be jailed, or he should be jailed for 25 years over gun crimes? Well, it's kind of loose. Yeah, he's a drug addict, and you're not supposed to have firearms if you're a drug addict. You're supposed to put that on your registration form, which I don't think anybody's going to do. Like, oh, you're trying to buy a firearm, and then it gets to the question about, are you a drug addict? And what are you going to say? Yes, okay, sorry. And you're going to hand in your form and say, maybe I'll come back next. Let me go to rehab. I'll come by and get this gun some other time. I don't want to do anything silly because I'm high on drugs all the time. So that's pretty much seems like what's happened. So they've got jury selection for Hunter Biden's first federal criminal trial. That began in Delaware. He's facing 3 charges, 2 counts of false statements, and 1 count of unlawful firearm possession, all related to the revolver he allegedly purchased and possessed in Delaware in October 2018. And if he's convicted of all 3, he could face up to 25 years. So, yes, he's had a history of drug problems, addiction. He was discharged out of the U.S. Navy Reserve after failing a drug test in 2013. So, yes, there's a ATF. When you go buy a gun, there's an ATF form 4473, asks you a bunch of questions if you were legally authorized. And one of the questions is, are you an unlawful user or addicted to marijuana, any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance? He answered no, so I guess that could put him in trouble. I don't know. It's a lot of people. I think I would be more concerned with people that, drink a lot of alcohol. think alcohol and crime and go hand in hand much more than say marijuana. But maybe crack. You're going to deal with some vicious people in that industry, some very desperate criminal people that could rob you or what have you. It's a sad thing. But
crackheads and meth heads lose their minds. Like you said with alcohol. I mean, man, Jack Daniels does very different things to people than a hit off of a bong. You know, like one leads to Grubhub or video games, or laughter, or binge TV watching, and the other can lead to aggressive escalation of verbal gymnastics that often lead to physical feats of skill. It's like there's really no comparison what they do to people. Blake and I, of course, have been bartenders in previous lives, and there's very little that Blake and I haven't seen from the sane side of the bar.
Yes, I was in the 24-hour drinking area of Las Vegas for over 18 years, but 15 as a bartender. And that was as a consumer as well as a server. So yes, when you drink 24 hours a day, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. And so I would want to, I think I've even heard a statistic, and maybe I'm pulling this out of my butt, I don't know, that like 75% of violent crime has something to do with alcohol.
Really?
I don't know. It could be, maybe not. And you think the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, you think they'd make a better connection there. Do you drink a lot? Do you blackout drink? Do you, brandish your firearms, start waving them around when you're angry about something, when you get kicked out of the bar? A lot of things.
On your 4x4, do you have Yosemite Sam mud flaps doing this dance? If so, you may be at higher risk.
Yeah.
You know those mud flaps at the Yosemite Sam? Yeehaw!
Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
I feel like that used to be more. Is there a most popular version of that? That's our question.
Most popular selling mud flaps. I'll have to ask my local ATV dealer.
Yeah, I'd be very curious because, I mean, what are some of the classics? Obviously, the Yosemite Sam, Calvin urinating on something,
Ford or Chevy or rivalries or Dodge.
Right. But once again, I feel like a lot of these peaked in like 95 to 05. I feel like that, like, it wasn't the Cola Wars, but it was like the mud flap wars, if you will. No, but I'm very curious. Like I haven't seen, and there would be like an outline of a gorgeous woman. Like there were probably 20 different designs we'd see all the time. But honestly, I don't know the last time I've noticed some of the mud flaps. But yeah. Anyway, definitely alcohol being much more potentially rowdy than something like a vape pen or a hit from the bong, if you will. So Hunter Biden, I mean, look, Blake, you come after Trump or going after Hunter? Like, do you feel okay in the setting that I guess everything's on the table and everyone's going after everyone, even though you might personally think this is sort of much ado about nothing? But like, how do we balance in the blackmail and the bribery? Like I don't know. I just remember that phrase, show me the man, I'll find you the crime. Find me the man, I'll show you the crime. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't want to sink to that level and go there. That's pretty vicious. And nobody, everybody's going to get in the mud. That's not good for everyone gets dirty. No, I think Hunter Biden's got a lot of issues. And if he got 25 years for, like they're saying the shady business dealings, there's a lot of things to go after Hunter for, but I think, or for taxes. I don't like to see these like elitists that are, sons of politicians that are, getting away with things like they're above the law. So there's a lot of things to go after Hunter for, but I don't think the gun charge is the big one. But so I don't know how much could they do. I don't know. 25 years is beyond excessive. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know what
30, what was it, 36, 37 felonies? By the way, Blake, you said, you don't want to get down in the mud. There's no amount of mud flap that can avoid
Right.
the mud splatter when you're down doing a World War I style knuckle to knuckle combat overseas somewhere muddy and bloody and weird. Yeah, I mean, but we didn't think we'd see 30 some trumped up charges, felonies. From Alvin Bragg, the guy who notoriously likes to take violent felonies and downgrade them to harmless misdemeanors for some unknown reason. That guy takes misdemeanors when it's Trump, the leading presidential candidate, and magically inflates them somehow in a very novel theory, very untried strategy to take misdemeanors into felonies. I mean, I didn't think we'd live to see these types of days either. And the fallout is going to be really weird about this. I don't know what the Supreme Court is taking so long for. I think there are time-sensitive special circumstances involved with what's happening with President Trump and all of these crimes. For those of you listening on Spotify, thank you for finding the Agree to Disagree show, but that was me doing the air quotes. So, yeah, it's strange times, Blake. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on the Hunter thing. I mean, Hunter's dead to rights, but it's just a matter of, is it because Biden is refusing to step down that they're now allowing more of this stuff to go forward? He was completely protected, but now he's not going along with the Obama plan. The Obama plan to replace Joe with maybe Michelle, maybe Hillary. I mean, who do they have left? Gretchen Whitmer, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom. I mean, are you kidding me? Blake, if that were like a spin-off cast of some wonky backward reality show, that wouldn't surprise you one bit. That cast of characters on the Democrat bench, like for someone that could legitimately replace Biden, that there's not a serious person in that list.
No, not what it used to be. They used to have some decency back in the day, and they had some superstars. Well, they already used up Obama, so now they don't have anything. Bill Clinton's obviously, yes, he was the 90s superstar. They've had some good characters. I thought Anthony Weiner was going to be the next superstar, but he got destroyed by exposed by Andrew Breitbart, so that was a good thing. Otherwise, maybe he would be the front runner. I mean, imagine if Anthony Weiner didn't have that laptop scandal and he was going head to head against Trump. I think he could have absolutely been a force. But I don't know. The Democrats' positions have gone so radical and so far left that maybe I don't know if anybody could look credible trying to present that. I mean, at least Anthony Weiner, I'm thinking at the time when he was, legitimate, but that was 10, 15 years ago. But if he was pushing the Biden type policies, he'd probably, he wouldn't be held in the same high, regard. So it's just too unpopular. Those policies aren't fooling anybody anymore.
Some could say that what was his first name? Anthony yep. Weiner. Some could say that Anthony's ambitions became a little frazzled around that time.
Yeah. Frazzle dazzle.
A whole situation there.
So his laptop is next to Hunter's laptop at the FBI headquarters, and we still haven't seen anything. Still waiting on you. Come on, FBI. Let's see what's on those.
We've heard the reports. We've been reading the reports. So, all right. From one Anthony to another, let's talk about Dr. Anthony Fauci. Finally, coming back to the scene of the crime, as some say. I want to talk about RFK's book, what he's had to say, what Congress is up to, and more when we hit this next topic on the Agree to Disagree show. All right, Blake. Would you agree, disagree that it is time that Dr. Fauci goes to prison for crimes against humanity? Agree or disagree?
Agree. And I could also add it's humanity and also crimes against canines for his work with the Beagles, which MTG put on display the other day. That would be yesterday, in fact, calling him out. Several people It's good to see. So she's showing the abhorrent, evil Fauci images of dogs that he tortured. So the beagles and the sandflies, things that he was funding that he didn't want exposed, but they certainly were, and they were on display in Congress.
Blake,
yeah.
Are you going to explain a little bit more in detail what this was, so we can fully grasp what we're talking about here? I didn't know if you were going to go into detail or just
I don't know, not too much. I know this is kind of an older story, but what were they doing? They had like sandflies that they were using on these poor beagles. It was in Virginia. And I know this company is getting sued. I think they've already offered up like $35 million to make this go away. Certainly, people want a lot more than that. They want some blood. They want some. Yeah, they're pretty outraged, and it's sad when people seem to be more outraged over dogs than humans. But it's still it's horrible. This should not be something that our taxpayer dollars are going to.
And so we can understand the person that has no problem continuing gain of function once he was told stop messing with gain of function, because gain of function is going to release a chimera. Like there's going to be a human jump, a hybrid. This is going to get out. This is going to be a monster that you cannot put back into Pandora's box. This guy with those beagles removed or disabled the larynx because they were whimpering and whining too much, and the people couldn't go through with the torture because they couldn't stand to listen to these beagles getting eaten alive slowly, although whimpers and cries. It's a certain type of demon that can get off on this type of thing. This little Keebler elf, Anthony Fauci. I mean, Blake, RFK Jr., he has a lot of stances on a lot of topics that don't make sense, with the Green New scam being right at the top of the list. Even though maybe his heart's in the right place, that can be debated, but the policy is just a grift. RFK was one of the first people to call out Dr. Fauci. I mean, knowing what we know about the beagles, what do we know about Fauci? From AIDS to RFK Jr.'s book to the hearings. Walk us through this. Like, to go through such gruesome torture on these dogs, they just something is off. A synapse is not connected in the brain, and they can explain things away just like Mengele could. It doesn't make it right. So what do we know about our Saint Fauci right now?
Well, he's been funding a lot of things that should be known by the public, including, yes, gain of function research, including at the Wuhan lab, where we all know that this virus originated from. They've tried to blame the wet market for it. But yes, we also learned more about how they were researching this experiment on these beagles. 28 beagles allowed to develop infections from these biting flies, which is just awful. As you said, yeah, they also removed their vocal cords or what have you, so they wouldn't have to hear them screaming in pain. So that's, yes, also awful. We did have Marjorie Taylor Greene calling them out. We can roll a clip here.
Mr. Fauci, you were quoted.
Actually, this is a little bit longer, so why don't I run one off of the website that somebody made a little mix here. This is from DC Drano. Well, actually, it's from another source here, but he posted it. Wouldn't refer to him as the doctor because he helped coordinate experiments where beagle dogs had their faces eaten. He's an evil tyrant, and now the whole country is seeing it. So let's roll this a little more manageable 3-minute clip.
Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, that's not a yes or no answer.
Yes, it's a yes or no.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, we'll take that as you don't know what you represent.
Oh,
But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on, and these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent. You confess that you made up the COVID rules.
By the way,
including 6 feet social distancing.
Yeah.
Man, is Marjorie Taylor Greene what we need 50 more of, 100 more of? What are the other people even doing in that room? There's 5 people that give a shit. And the rest of the people just, what, a strongly worded letter? I don't know, has an assistant fire off something on X. Like, is there any passion or fire from anybody in that chamber?
There was some good one from Rich McCormick. And I have a tiny clip from Jim Jordan. I think there was more, but I mean, these were obviously the most explosive and dramatic ones that were fit for display, make a good headline. But yeah, there could have and should have been more of these.
Yeah, well, I'm just, give a little bit of a appreciation for Marjorie Taylor Greene. I talked over this. If you could rewind it about 5 seconds to reset this next point.
Okay.
This isn't just about beagles, by the way. There's a lot of stuff to dig into on Fauci.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Presenting Mr. Fauci is abhorrent. You confess that you made up the COVID rules, including 6 feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You made it up as you went.
I didn't say I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science. And making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor, you're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes. No, I don't need your answer. That man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked and he belongs in prison.
Suspend.
Here you are without your mask, where you got to go and enjoy the game and sit right next to people not following the 6 feet of distancing, not wearing your mask, and everyone else was forced to stay home and stop enjoying life. And your science does.
This was almost hilarious if it wasn't so tragic. The kids in the music school that were in those little tents. I can't believe they did that.
Displayed perfectly in this picture were children. Children in school were put in plastic bubbles because of your science, your repulsive, evil science. And let's go back to your very own email. You said earlier you don't use email. Oh, you do. Right here. This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions, while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma. You know that what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Okie doke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was cool. And
I changed the headline to read Crimes Against Humanity and Crimes Against Beagles, by the way. Wow. I would like to volunteer. I think in the old days, they had squads. And they'd have multiple people, 5 or 10. And so you wouldn't really know who actually.
Oh.
I would volunteer. I would volunteer. Should the ultimate penalty for crimes against humanity need a volunteer to assist in the taking out of the trash, if found guilty of the most severe charges of crimes against humanity. Blake, I loathe everything about that Fauci. and the amount of royalties. Has he ever even had to explain the actual number? Because there's like a fake number that he's required to report, and he keeps stopping saying, and you're hearing the numbers somewhere 70 million, 700 million, 7 billion. Like it's almost like just there's a number in the ether that Fauci enriched himself by forcing people to abandon any other sort of therapeutic options for health that weren't a part of something that he made a residual on.
Yeah, Remdesivir or whatever he had. Yeah.
If that's violations right there at the highest order or not. This guy.
I'm looking at 690 million for big
okay,
pharma.
So that gets us the 700 million number.
Okay. Yeah, well, federal agencies under his leadership received hundreds of millions in pharmaceutical royalties, according to the investigation from Open the Books. Healthcare companies paid more than $710 million to the National Institutes of Health. Yeah, 690. And Fauci led. Yeah, he's been there since 1984. And I know he's also, criticized during the AIDS epidemic back then. Like he's been, a parasite on this country for a very long time. And he's had way too much power in this bureaucracy, and it looks like he has abused his role, his trusted doctor role for long enough. And hopefully this is going to catch up to him. I mean, yeah, if he's guilty. So, but it looks like they were, emailing off the record, doing all kinds of things, and yeah, they covered up this whole connection from Wuhan from the start, and that he was funding gain of function. There's a lot of problems there with Dr. Fauci that need to be addressed.
And I'll admit that I haven't read the entire The Real Anthony Fauci, but I just want to give you an overview here. This is a 2021 book by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., in which he attacks Anthony Fauci and his leadership of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. In the book, that's the NIAID. However you pronounce that. In the book, Kennedy offers, there you go. Who got to this? This is Wikipedia. They call it misinformation about Fauci's role during the HIV epidemic. Wow. All right, so Wikipedia is compromised on this one, but it does accuse Fauci of 30 years of abuse of power during both the HIV epidemic and COVID-19 epidemic. In the book, Kennedy accuses Fauci of pulling off a historic coup d'etat against Western democracy. And Kennedy promotes unproven COVID-19 treatments, including hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. The author, RFK Jr., shares his opinion that the C-19Vs were not sufficiently safety tested, and he likens the mandates in the U.S. to living under the rule of 1930s Germany. The book accuses Fauci of deliberately neglecting to use hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in order to increase the number of people who would be harmed from C-19. So, here you go. Kennedy also attacks the science of AIDS, spending over 100 pages quoting HIV denialists who question the isolation of HIV and the etiology of AIDS. So, RFK Jr. has been speaking out very publicly against Fauci. And it feels like some of the chickens are coming home to roost, Blake. But I guess this is just what? This is just another circus moment for Congress? Is there any teeth here? Are there any charges? Or what did Jim Jordan have to say? I know I took you off of that path. You had that one pulled up as well. But what else? People are yelling at him, but what does it mean? What other points need to be made, and where does it go from there?
That's a good question. I'm not actually sure what the next step is. So he did get his grilling, and it's not over. And whether they do a criminal referral, I'm not sure. But there's going to be more. He's not out of the woods by any means. So we'll see. This is just a quick one shared by Glenn Greenwald, showing what a pathological liar that Fauci is. 1 week after receiving emails from top epidemiologists arguing the virus was likely a lab leak, Fauci caused a virtual ban on questioning COVID's origin because he didn't want you to find out that he was in fact funding gain-of-function research at the Wuhan laboratory.
Because Blake,
course,
that would shine a light on Fauci and what he's been up to, because they told him stop doing it, so they reclassified it and they hid it. They didn't stop it. They just tried to change the definitions of things. They did whatever the heck they wanted. Rules and directives be damned. Fauci's the reason that all of this stuff happened. And they shut down the lab leak theory and said it was from a wet market. These people do nothing but lie to us, and there have to be consequences for these people. They have to be indicted and found guilty. Like these are the biggest crimes against humanity that they have perpetrated. And we've been calling them out consistently since the moment it started. And what happened? We, much like Snowden, much like Assange, all we've said are almost all of the correct things. We've had our accounts demonetized, shadow banned, deranked, deboosted, deplatformed, accounts deleted, pages deleted, groups deleted, personal profiles deleted, across Meta platforms, across Google, Alphabet platforms, Google, YouTube, Alphabet platforms. We were saying all of this stuff. I remember I did a podcast, what was it called? Big Fish in the Middle Kingdom. And I remember they took out that whole part that I did about the lab leak theory because we're trying to figure out where it came from. Oh, we weren't allowed to talk about that, so that was edited out. It didn't even happen. Oh, it happened. I have a copy of it happening. I was right the whole time. It was Fauci covering his ass along with the other people covering their ass who had no business pushing the Beagle experiments and the chimera nonsense they were doing with gain of function, which led directly to COVID-19, Blake.
Right. I know. I went through that. I lost one of my channels as well. And yeah, it was a constant battle of dancing around that issue or just, like filming, using YouTube to stream on and then having to take the video down and delete it so they wouldn't, come after it later and apply more strikes. It was constant like that. Facebook. Yeah, it was bad. They banned you from talking about any of this stuff, and they were wrong and we were right. So are they going to, make it up to us? Nah, it's just like it never happens. Like, oops, well, I guess whatever. Sweep it under the rug.
There have to be penalties for the companies that silenced people.
There should be.
These are civil rights violations. You cannot have the benefit of being a platform while also claiming the benefits of being a publisher. You're either a publisher or a platform. You cannot do both. And you cannot double dip your benefits on one side or the other. If you're a platform, you're just, you kind of put your hands up and go, I don't know, the whole Silk Road story. I couldn't tell you all the finer points of Ross Ulbricht, but you just say, look, there's a place where people meet. I don't know what they're doing. Like, I built a dating site. Well, you can't fault me if they got in an argument and she slapped him and that's assault. I didn't do it. I just put a place where they could meet each other. But publishers are like, no, we publish what we believe to be true and we have standards. And, we can't allow certain people to have certain conversations because we're publishers. Well, no, you're a platform. You can't be a platform and a publisher. And so the silencing of Americans for the past 4 years, 5 years, we can't ever forget that story. The visuals of those kids being tortured to wear a mask for no good reason on their faces day after day. There are some of these people who made decisions to harm you in any number of these ways. And they're still trying to get elected. They're hoping we forget about this. A message must be sent with Fauci. If he's not indicted, but Donald Trump's misdemeanors that were past the statute of limitations, somehow magically at 3 a.m. had a felony vote dump and magically turned misdemeanors into felonies to go after them. But we have no trials about Epstein. We have no trials about what Fauci was doing with gain of function, about making up 6 feet distancing and torturing those kids to stay at home. 6 feet was never a thing. Denying natural immunity, denying the potential benefits of hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, forcing you into a one-size-fits-all approach for an experimental gene therapy that you had to put in your body in order to work or travel. Like, talk about the mark of the beast. You can't work unless you put this thing inside of you. There's nothing more Harvey Weinstein than you got to put this thing inside of you to keep working. You're like, wow, I really have to grab my ankles and just go along with what you're telling me I must do with my body. Wow. This is not a country I recognize. And to let people off the hook.
Maybe it's been that way a long time, Brian, and you just realized it now. How did that actress get that role? Or that actor? Yeah. Okay. Well, how things work in the real world.
Ask Diddy. Ask Diddy how that happened.
How did you get that record deal, Brian? You were hanging out with Diddy in his pad for a while. How did that deal get done?
Yeah, that part. All right, what did Jim Jordan have to say about this? We're going to wrap up on Fauci and move to some of the rest of the news stories, but let's hear from Mr.
Yeah, we'll get
Jim
him,
Jordan.
and then I'll get another quick one from Rich McCormick. You were asking for more clips. This is a very brief one, just calling him out on the lab leak.
Do you agree that there was a push to downplay the lab leak theory?
Not on my part.
Really?
Oh, wow. Like,
I
he
think
wasn't
most of the
influencing all the social media and the legacy media. The amount of governmental force applied and pressure. Zuckerberg's talked about it. I think Jack Dorsey's talked about it. They've tried to put their hands on. They're like, the government came at us and said, you got to shut everyone down that's talking about this stuff. Now, I don't buy their hands up like, oh my gosh, we were so bullied into doing this. It's like, no, you guys are totalitarian tyrants as well. Jack Dorsey, I don't know. He kind of left, and he's a bit of a mixed bag. I'm not sure what to make of him, but anyway, Fauci pretending that he wasn't the strongest muscle involved in this intimidation campaign is not just laughable. It's enough to make a person hysterical listening to. The gaslighting with this one.
Right. So he gets called out here.
We find that amazing. I still got 11 seconds.
Well, look at the facts. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
All right. I yield back.
See, it's okay, Brian. He kept an open mind. It's all good.
Wow.
All right. Well, let's shift over here. This is one sent from John Rich.
And by the way, let me just ask this question to consider while this next video is getting pulled up. Dreamer, what's up, Dreamer? What's up, Kenneth? Dreamer saying, my question is, at the end of the day, where are all these hearings going to get us? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where are the 34 indictments? The 30, what was it, 34 or 37 or 36, Blake?
34.
34. Where are the 34 indictments on Fauci? You run the House. Go. Just do that.
Well, they just did the hearing yesterday, so we'll see if they do a criminal referral going forward. I don't know. I mean, at least that was a big deal that they brought him up there yesterday. I don't know if they're expecting to, immediately, throw him in the gulag, but we'll see what the next step is. Let's watch him get grilled a little bit more here from Rich McCormick. This was also the other big clip besides MTG.
To live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it? I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you were going to have schools
Universities and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated. Yeah. Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
All right. Screw this guy, Blake. Oh, this guy. We all lived through this mess. Oh, my.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I was right in the. Yeah. I was in LA at the time when this went down, and just the insanity. And yes, you go to the grocery store and everybody's there's a little tape on the floor. You got to stand 6 feet apart. 5 feet danger,
Fauci
6 feet safe.
guy.
Yeah, the Jim Brewer comedy. Yeah, it was crazy. And then, everyone, you had to wear a mask to get in. They'd have security there. Yeah, it was insane. It was all bullshit. They made it all up.
And they know how much easier it's going to be the next time they try to do it, because it literally muzzles people like taking the larynx out of a beagle. They lose their ideological bullshit when you torture them, huh? You little rat. You little weasel.
Tony the rat. Yeah.
You little pathetic weasel. You vile vermin, you rat. I'm trying not to swear. You dirty dog, you. Oh, we lose our ideological bullshit when we're tortured because you take our voice away like a beagle in a lab so you can't hear him whine. Oh, this guy. There is a special place.
Yep.
There is a special place for the people that torture animals like that. Torture humans, kids, all of us, adults. The elderly, dying alone. Nobody can see them. They're scared. They're terrified. They're being force-fed into ventilation tubes. They're given medicine that doesn't help them. They're withheld options because there's a one-size-fits-all approach because the other sizes don't result in a residual check. Oh, Blake.
Yep.
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
I've only seen the last season. I haven't seen the rest. I'm curious about it. I don't have time, but I know it's an interesting show.
Just it's just you think about the penalties and how people were treated in various ways, and you think about the grotesque abuse of Fauci with those beagles. And then you just start thinking about Fauci. What would be a just penalty for what he's done? Because in the next realm, that's in somebody else's hands. But while he's in this realm, you're telling me you can't find 34 felonies to hit him with tomorrow? You're telling me a red governor, a red attorney general, a red district attorney, you're telling me somebody in Texas or Florida can't indict him on 34 charges tomorrow for crimes against humanity with penalties including the death sentence, capital punishment for what he's done, crimes against humanity. You're telling me not one red person in a red city, red state, red area, you're telling me they're not willing to go in a slam dunk case when we watch a completely ass backward, built on nothing charade in the Bronx, or I'm sorry, in Manhattan with President Trump. I just, here's a strongly worded letter. All right, now what?
We don't know yet. It's 1 day later, but I'm sure they're writing up something. Hopefully it's more than a letter, and hopefully it's a criminal referral. We shall see. Or we might have to wait for a changing of the guard, get through the next election, because who knows? Maybe this stuff will be, vetoed, or I don't know exactly how this process is going to work going forward, but we shall see. So this is just the beginning. He's not out of the woods. They did call him to task. They did expose him. Now let's hopefully get the people outraged. That's kind of one of the main things is getting the people so outraged that they're going to be demanding that something be done to Fauci. But you still get a lot of people that just have like Stockholm syndrome, and they still just think he's a hero. It's pretty sad, even though, yes, we've exposed everything that they said was BS. So, yeah, so there was no evidence for the 6-foot thing. There was no evidence that masks did anything. And then we find out that the new report, the China lab leak was the source, and that we were pumping tons of taxpayer dollars into sketchy gain of function research. And then they made it basically that you couldn't say that, or you couldn't, and then you gotta trust his science, and you gotta say the leak just came naturally at the wet market.
What did Jon Stewart say? Maybe a bat kissed a pangolin.
Right.
Have an explosion of rich chocolatey goodness outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania. What could it be? You know what? Jon Stewart's been a hack on his new show since he's come back once a week on Comedy Central from the clips I've seen. But I appreciate him going head to head with Stephen Colbert and just saying, are you mental? You're repeating this nonsense. Someone's feeding you a script that you're repeating. Do you understand how stupid you sound? So I don't know. I wonder why he was allowed to speak so freely on that subject, why that wasn't censored.
They didn't want him to. It was obviously uncomfortable for Colbert, but yeah, I guess they did run it because I guess it was poked enough fun about it. I guess they could have axed it, but people wanted to see it, and maybe they're trying to get the truth out some way. It's hard to on those corporate networks, but I guess that got through, and it's sad that it has to go to that level in America in these days.
Agreed.
You can't talk about these things, and then
Blake,
of course, silenced everybody else.
This was set as the second topic. I know we touched on it. I didn't know if you had a separate special link about the government knowing that COVID was a lab leak. I know we did touch on it. I mean, it seems obvious.
Yeah, I guess I would agree. I think from the very beginning, that was the most obviously they knew damn well where it came from. They just didn't want to admit that, we were using your taxpayer dollars to fund gain of function research at that laboratory, and one of our creations escaped. Whether it was intentional or not, we don't know yet, but it might have been. We'll leave it all open. But that was amazing. All the cover-ups and all the BS, and it was made up of nothing. And they said, we're the science, and we had to go along with it. And they tried to, force everybody to take their experimental jabs. So,
and the one that got closest to seeming semi-plausible was like, well, there's medical disposal bins where you have bats and animals, and when they were tossed in there, instead of being thrown out, one of the workers took them across the street and sold them for really cheap. Like, hey, I got these dead bats, you want them? And then they did use it in some of the food. But that being said, they were told repeatedly to stop doing gain of function, and they just kept doing it. And there has to be a penalty for that. How many families out there will never be made whole again? You can't fix the damage done by what Fauci did. And if there's not a punitive measure to hold someone accountable for letting a worldwide pandemic out, we're really going to give 34 felony charges for checking this box instead of this box. You can find 34 air quote felonies for Trump, past statute of limitations, and there's still no crime. Like, non-disclosures happen every day, but there's not a single indictment for Fauci. So, we'll keep our eyes peeled on it. What's this one? It had to be Wu. Yeah.
We all knew it, and we're called crazy conspiracy theorists. Getting strikes on our channels and getting labels on our posts. Getting shadow banned, censored, punished.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, good time.
Well, is he set to be on again tomorrow?
Not sure when the next date is. I don't.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep our eyes peeled.
Yeah.
I want that man held accountable. and I will volunteer to help do so once he's found guilty by a jury of his peers. That man is.
So how do you want him to go, Brian?
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya.
Right.
My mom died at the beginning of COVID, and my brother died at the end of COVID. Prepare for some justice, Anthony Fauci. Oh, I want this guy found guilty of everything you could imagine.
Well, everything they did, and then it's bad enough, and then he will be shamed in the history books for the end of time.
Yeah, I had to bury half of my family due to respiratory distress at the very beginning of COVID, right before. It was like a week before the world shut down. And then my brother was right at the end of it when Biden was withholding monoclonal antibodies that have been proven to be very effective down in Florida. When he was trying to punish doctors who were prescribing ivermectin. So instead of 60 milligrams, they were only giving 12. They were scared. You can't, it's a drug that's, you know, you can overdose on aspirin or Tylenol, and you can overdose on anything, but like it takes a large amount. It had been tested so widely, so broadly. There was like that much risk, and like real options were withheld to people that were desperately trying to get them at the time because they were making a commission on the cure. Yeah, I got feelings on the matter. But I withheld the rant that's deep in my soul. I'll save that for a night that I'm drinking some of that Jack Daniels, like I said, Blake. Jack will bring out a different version of you, I suppose. But today, we're keeping it chill like we're Brittany Griner in Russia. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic here. It's going to involve our elections. Are we really going to allow this next phase of things? And has this been the plan all along? And what's the mechanism to correct where we find ourselves? I don't know. All right, Blake. Agree or disagree that Joe Biden will grant mass amnesty to illegals as a voting bloc? Agree or disagree that Biden is going to grant mass amnesty?
Yeah, I think it's already in the works. They're definitely, they see the polls. They know they're not doing well, and they're going to do anything and everything they can to secure the next most secure election ever in 2024. But it might have some new participants. Perhaps we got Biden administration offering the mass amnesty to migrants as it quietly terminates 350,000 asylum cases. So they're trying to act like they're getting tough on the border, but behind the scenes, it's operating a program of, quote, mass amnesty. And since 2022, more than 350,000 cases filed by migrants have been closed. Because if the U.S. government, for these applicants, if they don't have a criminal record or are otherwise not deemed a threat to the country. So the migrants are not granted or denied asylum. Their cases are terminated without a decision on the merits of their claim, and they are removed from the legal system and no longer required to check in with authorities. So then they can indefinitely roam the U.S. without fear of deportation, effectively just letting them slip through the cracks and into the country. So there's just no decision. Hey, they're not violent. Let's just let them go. And so I'm assuming they will probably end up with voting rights and will, of course, vote to stay and vote for Biden. Because, if Trump is, saying he's going to deport these people, obviously they're going to vote against him. Even if they love Trump on everything, they're going to vote to stay in the country, however that happens. So, yeah, the little gift from the Biden administration and DHS Secretary Mayorkas.
Yeah, it once again, it feels like these are treasonous actions. Seems pretty obvious. You're trying to replace the people of the country with hundreds of thousands. They're into the millions of people from other places. I don't get shareholders' rights at the at the Ford annual meetings because I'm not a shareholder. I don't get to vote in that homeowners association because I'm not on the board of directors. This opening the door for this type of electoral malfeasance is intentional. How could it possibly be looked at in any other way than intentional? That's the part I'm failing to understand here.
These people are at a regional center for border health in Yuma. I had some really amazing breakfast burritos in Ejectors in Yuma, Arizona. I went there twice even. I had to make a special stop in Yuma to get my breakfast burrito, which at that time was still $5 cash. Anyway.
Nice.
Quick note on Yuma. Lovely little spot. All right.
Blake, you need to put a travel guide out. You've been to enough places. You could do like 50 of the best unknown places to eat across America.
There you go. No, I just look at whatever on the maps, find a highly rated restaurant. Something to, I've done a lot of traveling over the last several years.
I know.
So
we both have.
A lot of on the I-40 there.
Some people, some people travel, some people don't. And over the past 20 years, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
Well, if you're ever in Yuma, stop at Ejector's Burritos. But I don't. It's probably changed a lot in the last few years. That was pre-COVID, I think. So probably raised prices, and now they've got a lot more people living there.
Oh, thanks, Obama.
Probably at the same spot.
Remember the Thanks Obama comedy skit?
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Yuma
used to be cool and cheap. Now it's not. Thanks, Obama. That was so funny, that Jenna Marbles. Dreamer was saying, watch for the percentage of the voters who turn out in the next election. Yes, good point. Breakfast burrito. Oh, yeah. Some of that. All right. So with this mass amnesty now, look, the only way that we have a nationwide election, Blake, is through the consent of the other 49 states. If you're a red state and you're watching what's happening, you have to be demanding some sort of final, ultimate, universal decision on who gets the right to vote in the next election. If you can't trust what's happening in these blue cities, blue states, because they're registering people who snuck in the country, violated the law, are not citizens, then we don't have a unified vote. I mean,
right.
We could have a repeat of 2020, except I don't think there's any way that America is going to tolerate that in so many ways. And I don't know that we could survive that. There's the type of getting away with stuff that happened in 2020. And then there's what they're doing to Trump now. It's on a whole different level. What is this, Ejectors?
Yeah, but remember, I said they were $5 cash. Now they're already up to $6.60 and $7.25. They've raised the prices, of course. That's actually not too bad. It was cash only, though. Yeah, get yourself a burrito and wash it down with a nice cold glass of horchata. Good times.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, that's all I've got on that one.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on Biden and the Democrats trying to grant mass amnesty to overthrow the voting bloc. I mean, the polls, Blake. Have you seen any interesting polls? I saw a couple. One of them saying that, Trump lost a little bit of support over this conviction. I'm like, really? Yeah. Who was riding with Trump that's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this kangaroo court thing that they set up to rig him for political purposes. I can't believe they got the predetermined result that they always knew from the beginning they were going to get. That's it. I'm out. Like, who's leaving the Trump side? Do you buy that at all? Or do you think based on the fundraising that he's more popular than ever?
You got to be pretty weak-minded and just pay very little attention to just think, oh, my God, did you hear Trump got hit with 34 felonies? Well, I'm not going to vote. I was going to vote for him, but now I'm not. You got to be a moron. So I don't know. Those people don't count for anything. But we'll see. So no, I'm not buying it.
No, I would.
At least they'd be canceled out by the people that would be saying, "Hey, this is BS. This is America. I didn't like Trump, but you know what? We got to vote for him because, yeah, it's ridiculous. That is lawfare to the extreme, and we are not a banana republic. Well, they're trying to make it into it.
Or like you said, we've been a banana republic for a long time, and we're just kind of figuring it out now. By the way, Donald Trump's campaign said that it's raised nearly $300 million in May, as it benefited from a new surge of support among small dollar donors on top of an existing strength with billionaires. Of the total, 141 went to Trump's formal campaign and the Republican National Committee, where maximum donations are capped. The rest went to Trump supporting organizations and super PACs, where the wealthy can give as much as they want. So, yeah, wherever the number is now, the number is massive because people are just terrified. People are saying, oh my God, if they can just go after Trump for no reason. Oh my gosh, there was a reason. $130,000 went from here to an attorney, but he checked that it went to an attorney, and an accountant filled out a thing for an attorney. And oh my gosh, throw him in jail to be Epstein. Like, no. How about no? How about line in the sand? No. Am I being clear on my no? But speaking of Epstein, Blake, let's talk about this one. Agree or disagree? Oh, come on. We can't go to the next topic until we dance in
Stinger.
Yeah, the new Stinger. We're talking about the American Southwest in Yuma. How about this?
Right.
All right, Blake, agree or disagree that Donald Trump should keep the JFK assassination, the 9/11 attack, and the Epstein files declassified?
Oh, I messed up that one. I think I changed it. It should be classified. Oops, I mistake. Yeah, we don't deserve to know that, Brian. I think it's better off that the public be left in the dark about those serious subjects. But no, I would disagree there. Yes, it's time, and he was called out. Asked about that. And yes, we do want to see JFK, 9/11, and Epstein files finally brought to light.
Finally.
A lot of stuff out on JFK, but not all of it. It's very, very close. We're getting piecemeal. But yeah, it's time to just let the rest of it out. And then, yeah, 9/11. It's amazing that they're still, holding this stuff. Of course, there's a lot of people that are, you wanted to wait for all the people that were guilty for the JFK thing to die, and then you could, release the information. Obviously, the Epstein stuff, there's a lot of people that are still living that could be in a lot of trouble, but they did it to themselves. But we all deserve to know. We can't have compromised people that are doing awful things, unspeakable crimes, because they think they're in another country and they're palling around with Jeffrey Epstein. And so it's okay for them to diddle kids or whatever. I don't want to go into that dark corner. But yes, we deserve to know what our politicians and our government is up to. So I think it's awesome that he has pledged to declassify those things.
I also heard a Tucker Carlson, I think it's from A New Conversation, or at least I was seeing the clip was going around. Tucker Carlson discussing what it's going to take. Like, it's going to take someone willing to, to go down with the ship. Like, it's going to take someone to do that, to shut this stuff all down. I don't know if you saw that clip, but he's like, don't tell me you're spying on me for my protection. You don't care about me. You're letting people cross the border. You're not checking anybody. You have no idea what their intentions and their backgrounds are. You don't care about me. And you don't get to use that as an excuse to violate my civil rights. Like, these groups, these alphabet agencies, Tucker's dad, what was it? Tucker's dad worked at the agency? Yeah. And Tucker too?
No, he was not recruited or what have you.
Allegedly.
I think even Putin kind of called him out and teased him a little bit about that.
Okay. All right, so he didn't make the cut to go spook.
I guess not.
So he went rogue.
He wasn't good at keeping secrets. I don't know, or maybe he didn't.
He couldn't go spook,
something.
so he went rogue.
You got to prove something that you can trust. That you can be trusted. You have to do something bad at Epstein's Island. It's not about sex, Gary. It's about trust. I don't know if I'm butchering that quote. Was the America fuck yeah? What? No, yeah. What's the South Park movie with the puppets?
Team America, World Police.
Team America. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
It's not about sex, Gary. It's about trust.
You're on to something there. That's exactly what the scene is. All right. So who was Trump talking to? He's to release classified files. I mean, come on. If he's not on the hit list before, he is now. Like, he's just letting it all rip, I guess.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, it's not like they did him any favors.
Would you declassify?
He thought he'd play nice with these people, but they were clearly wicked, and they deserve. Now it's gloves are off if he gets back in. So here we go. Let's check this clip out.
And by the way, coincidentally, with the gloves off, Blake.
Yeah.
Trying to go after him. If he has to go get sentenced for a few months to have Secret Service protection to shut down an entire penitentiary, like, you can't have him in general pop. Like, it would shut the whole place down. If he was inside of a maximum security facility surrounded by Secret Service, that might be the only place that they can't get to him before the election. That might be the safest place for him. Well, what a weird turn of fate that would be.
Well, Jim Comey was already fantasizing about that the other day, and he was saying they'd have to put him in some like double wide trailer, like out in the back or whatever, where he's under protection, where he'd be isolated from everybody else, and they have Secret Service out there. It'd be so stupid.
What is James Comey still doing without his indictments?
I don't know. But yeah, he's trying to get Trump in trouble because obviously he'd be terrified if Trump got back into office, and he'd have to actually, face some consequences for the things that he did. So, but here's Trump talking with Fox and Friends about this issue here with the declassification.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Attorney General.
There we go. There you have it. That's pretty awesome that they even asked about it, and that he's going to go for it.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what the libertarians showed us? Show President Trump that you feel strongly about something. You don't see him say no very often. If you don't ask him ridiculous stuff, it's like, hey, would you like to release this? Yeah, that's important. Yeah. All right. Well, what about Ross Ulbricht? Yeah. Well, the story about Ross Ulbricht is that he still has a mountain of Bitcoin, and that he is the world's most wealthy person, but they don't know where it is and they can't squeeze it out of him. And that's the reason why he was selected over Snowden and Assange to be released. Have you heard that story, Blake?
It could be. I mean, I don't know. I get mixed feelings on that whole thing. And someone sent me because I did post that clip of people cheering free Ross, and someone sent me an old article about how I guess Ross Ulbricht was, he had some people killed, but also they were trying to blackmail him. They were scammers. Like, when you're dealing with so it's basically like the black market of Amazon, or it's like Amazon. They had like $1 billion. They had insane amounts of money. It was all in Bitcoin. It was all done secretly because people were, buying phony driver's licenses and, of course, buying drugs and doing all kinds of things. But there were a lot of shady characters when you're in that. And so he had a few people killed, allegedly. Because
I was going to say, is that confirmed? Was that a court of law proven?
It's not 100% proven, but it's plausible. But at the same time, I'm like, man, these people were dirtbags threatening to expose. I mean, they say, snitches get stitches. Like, if you did that kind of stuff in real life, like, you're going to expose drug dealers and things like that and send people to jail forever, and you're trying to get money, you're going to wind up getting killed. So I'm not saying he did it, but I'm saying that as like the Chris Rock thing, I would understand.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's okay, but I understand.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that being said, what if he had the ability to unleash a certain waterfall of Bitcoin to get a lot of influential people to back Trump, to get him out? And by the way, second thought that I have on that, and once again, that was something that they accused John McAfee, that he had a secret stash of Bitcoin. You know, there's a lot of subterfuge. There's a lot of mistrust, distrust going on. But after we watched what Merchan and Bragg and Letitia James, like all of this lawfare, I feel like there's never been a better time to re-examine someone who's been railroaded by the deep state and say, well, you know what? Maybe they were framed. Maybe they are being unfairly punished. Maybe they are caught up in something that, yeah, you slander him with. That's what they did to McAfee. He's like, oh, he killed his neighbor. Did he? Because his story is you killed the neighbor's dog, then you killed the neighbor, then you pinned it on him because you kept trying to shake me down for money that I wasn't giving you. So I had to take off through the woods. Now, I'm not saying who you should believe, and I'm not saying I know what's true. I'm saying that there's multiple sides. And if all we have to do is look at the lengths they went to get past the fact that Donald Trump's accusations, the things that could allegedly, it was past the statute of limitations. They went back and rewrote laws to jump into different timelines, like there's Scott Bakula and Quantum Leap. Wow. That was a Scott Bakula drop. Didn't expect to do that today. But
Yeah.
Jumping timelines like that, you know, the fact that they got away with boosting misdemeanors past their statute of limitations into felonies to take out the number one presidential contender, beloved by the people. Biden is despised by the people. I was just reading a report that said TikTok, it's 10-1 pro-Trump, which is very interesting. But I mean, nobody likes Biden. Nobody anywhere likes Biden, the third Barack Obama term. So the point being, Blake, maybe Ross Ulbricht could be looked at in a second set of eyes going, yeah, he was accused of this, but was that ever actually proven? Or that was just the slur? Remember, Julian Assange was like, oh, he's something with a girl. Yeah. Oh, you mean they had relations? And then she later claimed something that's unprovable and it's past the statute. Yes, because he's journalisming. Okay, let's go get him because of the girl. It's like you can accuse anybody of anything. Doesn't make it true. So I don't know. It's just an interesting side plot to it. Kenneth B saying a cabal crash is coming soon, folks. Hey, all right, cool. I'm all for that. Let's hope. So, all right, so is that all we have on Trump, JFK, 9/11, and the Epstein file?
That's it. Let's roll. We got
two more
quick stories.
Let's stay with Trump and ask about this one. Agree or disagree that Trump would become dictator and put the U.S. into anarchy? Agree or disagree?
I'm going to disagree, but I'm not a mentally deranged MSNBC air quote historian.
Look at that face. Who is this guy?
What is his name? Let's check it out. Michael Beschloss.
Okay.
Went on a rant about how Trump would be a dictator and a second term would lead to anarchy with Jonathan Chait here. Yes, he's afraid he's going to turn it into a dictatorship and an anarchy, and people are saying, you mean like forcing taxpayers to pay off other people's student loans, forcing automakers to build electric cars, forcing people to take jabs, wear masks, close businesses. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, that's typical MSNBC fodder, and they love to have these historians quote try to confirm their insanity, try to give it legitimacy, but it doesn't. Yeah.
Imagine how terrified they must be to get a real Department of Justice in there to go after the real criminals. They are all so guilty, Blake, and they're all complicit. They are terrified of an actual justice system going after actual criminals. They're all so wrapped up in this. And they're not going to be able to say we were just doing our job. Trials, you know, what they did to limit medical, By the way, the field of medicine is constantly debated. Religion, constantly debated. Economics, constantly debated. There is nothing settled in anything. Science, the hypotheses that are bandied about, like that's what makes the scientific community go around. The stuff that they did to limit that, they are complicit in what Fauci did. They're terrified of what they did to put their fingers on the scales of justice in 2020 to try to steer where the outcome went based on what 51 intelligence officials are lying about and they're going along with willingly. So, I mean, this guy, yeah, he's got that crazy face. He could be a Halloween mask. That guy looks off his rocker. I'm not familiar with him, but
right.
Yeah, I mean,
right. 10 minutes, Brian.
Right. If that's what they think anarchy would be, a real Justice Department holding people accountable, let's go for that. Otherwise, we saw the last 4 years of the Trump presidency. For 4 years, we know what he's going to do. Things were in a pretty good position until COVID was released. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know what they're talking about, but yes, this is their own delusions, and they're accusing him of what they're doing.
All right. Well, that is to be expected. And speaking about delusions and worrying about what people are doing, let's talk about this one, Blake. Do you agree or disagree that the feds are trying to shut down Alex Jones and Infowars? This kind of got really interesting over the weekend. And I saw Laura Logan. I think she was guest hosting today. Laura Logan used some of our footage from January 6th in one of her series. I haven't seen.
Yeah, that was on with Ben Swan.
Yeah, I still have to see that and add it to IMDb, I guess. But Laura Logan doing a lot of good stuff. But yeah, Infowars has been at the center of things. What is going on? What is the latest with Alex Jones and his outlet down there in Austin, Blake?
That was curious. Yeah, but after kind of looking into it, it seems like it's maybe more of a publicity stunt. Certainly that was what he was saying, is that the feds are coming after me. It's gonna be my last broadcast. I got to do an emergency. All hands on deck. I'm gonna sleep here in the studio and gonna have people come over here and surround the building. But I'm not entirely sure how accurate any of that is. So he's in trouble for this, with the bankruptcy settlement, with the whole Sandy Hook thing. So it looks like that was where this stemmed from. So the families of those killed in the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting asked the judge to liquidate Alex Jones's media company, including Infowars. So they were trying to get the 1.5 billion, but I think they counteroffered just to have like 85 million over 10 years. And he still hasn't given them any money. I'm not saying that, any of this was just or what have you. But after a couple of years of him not giving him any money, they just decided, okay, well, why don't we just, liquidate what they got and get something out of it? And so it was in court yesterday, I believe Monday, and they're giving him like another 2-week extension. Obviously, they'll be able to make money. If he stays in business, they'll be able to collect some money, but he's not paying at all. So they're at kind of this impasse. But it's not really just like the feds just decided to shut him down because he's speaking too many truths. So there's more than one side to this. So I don't know. It's weird I have kind of conflicted positions here with Jones. He is, really good at what he does, but he's also a performance artist to an extent. And he's, loves the attention and he loves, raising money. But I don't know how legit this is. But we've also got a disgruntled former employee here with David Knight. I think we did bump into him at the Bundy Ranch, but I didn't know it was him at the time because it was like pitch black out in the middle of Bunkerville. So he's calling this all out as being kind of a fraud. But, you got to kind of look at between the lines here. So, we do have to have some accountability here too. We have to have, good people that are the leaders that we can trust. And we don't want to be, getting misled if somebody is out, running a grift. I'm not saying he is, but I would like to see a little more evidence about this. And we have to be careful. Yeah, Lara Logan's on there. A lot of big people like to go on the show. Obviously, that's great for exposure, but, for the right reasons. So he might have been just, making this up. So we can run this clip here in a little time that I have here. I'll pull some of this up from David Knight, formerly of Infowars.
Because by the way,
yeah, if it'll run,
that network has done a lot. In like any network, it's just so interesting. Every Democrat gets a pass on all of their legitimate crimes, and Republicans are held up to these ridiculous standards and charged for things that are misdemeanors, inflated into all these felonies. Alex Jones has been wrong about a couple of stories, and he's gotten a lot of stuff right.
Yeah.
Has NBC and CNN, have they been penalized? Have they been punished for what they did, lying about the things they've lied about for the past 10 years? Where is the other side? Why is it only one side? You want to talk about families who are really harmed by what you did? Let's look at the Fauci stuff over the past 4 or 5 years and the complicity of ABC, Fox, CBS, WNBC. Where's the penalty there? No, we can only talk about the Sandy place. Only Sandy. He didn't buy the official story. And yep, therefore he must be ruined and scattered into all corners of the planet, so that those pieces could never be formed again, like a Transformers plot or something.
Right.
Okay. No. But everyone else gets a free pass for the lies that they've been pushing. The Russia collusion, the P-tapes, the Steele dossier, overthrowing the president with all of that stuff. 51 intelligence officials. Yeah, it has all the classic earmarks of being Russian information. Bullshit. It's just not true. And none of the other networks are penalized for their outright propaganda and lies.
Hey, I agree. It is a double standard.
You got a Sandy story that ain't good, so what? They must be destroyed, but the others must thrive. Spare me. Give them the slap on the wrist, garnish some of a percentage of something somehow, move it along. Unless you're going to destroy all the other ones that are complicit and way worse than questioning a story that seemed a little too on the nose. It seemed a little set up. It seemed a little, as Obama's pushing this one topic to take our ability to defend ourselves away, a really strange, tear-jerking thing happens across the country, and you're like, whoa, let's talk about that. There's a lot to unpack there. Either way, they never waste an opportunity to take advantage of a crisis, so we should approach it pragmatically and not emotionally for us to lose our right as good people to defend ourselves against monsters. So some of the Infowars hate, spare me.
Yeah, no, it's not hate, but you also we got to police ourselves too. Like Alex has done a ton of good, and I don't want to badmouth him when there's going to be a ton of people that if you even suggest that maybe this was a publicity stunt, people are going to get outraged. So you got to be careful about that. But yeah, he did raise a lot of money by bringing awareness to this, but there might be more to the story. So I'll play a couple of clips. I don't have a lot of time here, but let's hear from his former employee, David Knight.
It was on all of media. The only source for all this stuff that was happening was Alex Jones. And he didn't have any documentation, any details about any of that stuff. There was no court order out there. There was no reporting because, you got people at several of these news outlets that really kind of hang on this case. And they report anything and everything that happens with this bankruptcy case. There was nothing. And I went to several different search engines because I couldn't believe it. I said, so what is all this? This is just based on Alex's fantasies and feelings? Yeah, it really was.
All right, let's roll one more clip here.
He's not going to show up with a bunch of law enforcement people. If he shows up with law enforcement people, Alex has got cameras all over the place. He's got cameras everywhere inside the building and outside the building. Show the tape.
And which, I kind of have to agree there. So
I forgot.
We gotta hold our own
David
people accountable to some extent too. I know he's being persecuted for this, which may be absolutely wrong, which was over the top. But he's also admitted, he's a performance artist, and sometimes these guys run stunts like that. And he's got a lot of money, and he's, so it's hard to say. There's, you got to call out the bad with the good. We can't just be, blind cult followers to everything. So there are a lot of points. I won't get into some of the other finer details of what's going on here, but it's interesting to hear a different perspective. We can't hold these, some of these guys on pedestals, no matter how much we like them. And I was a huge Infowars fan for a number of years and rarely missed a broadcast for several years.
And I've always kept arm's length, just kind of watch. Like I've always had the vibe that they get a lot of things right, but man, when they miss spectacularly. You get sucked into the rip current out in the water. It just kind of takes you with it. I've always been careful about that. But once again, when he's in a court case and he's mentioning how it's performance art, like, yes, anytime you're in front of a camera, you're delivering some sort of a performance. You could be low key, you could be high energy, you could kind of be playing a character and matching other people's energy. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but yeah.
But if you're going to get but if you're going to get everybody all riled up on your side, and it turns out that it was just a publicity stunt and there was no evidence of this, and this is just purely related to your personal bankruptcy case, then it's, to me, it seems like it hurts us all. And we don't want to go down that road either. So,
he was spending $93,000 a month and had been. And so as of September of last year, that you started seeing all these articles in mainstream media. That's why I said it was strange that there was nothing at all about this coming to an end.
Stuff like that, like it upsets me. Because, if we're trying to win the informational war and you're a guy who's being a performance artist and you're spending $93,000 a month on personal expenses.
Wait, did he say on personal expenses?
You could have built an army. That's what's frustrating to me. If your brand is trying to defeat the globalists and you're hoarding umpteen millions of dollars that could have gone into this fight, that does bother me.
Did he say? I heard him say spend 91 million. I didn't hear him say what he's spending it on.
Right.
Was it on operating expenses? Was it?
No, it's on his own personal expenses.
I didn't hear him say that. Did he say personal expenses? I missed
that. For all the before this weekend performance that he did, and so. As AP reported at the time, his personal spending topped $93,000 in July alone, including thousands of dollars on meals and entertainment. He says, well, I like to go out to eat every once in a while. Try Burger King or something. I know it's kind of expensive, but it hasn't gotten that expensive. It is disturbing that Alex Jones continues to spend money on excessive household expenditures and his extravagant lifestyle, said the opposing lawyers. If Jones doesn't reduce his personal expenses to a reasonable level, they will ask a bankruptcy judge to bar him from further waste of estate assets. Now, that was September, in the middle of September last.
So, yeah, it's going to be time to go. But, there's a lot of good that Alex does, and there are some issues there. Yeah. And it does bother me because I would like to see, victory for the alternative media over,
propaganda,
the legacy media.
Yes.
But,
all right. Well, Blake, we are out of time for today.
We don't want to hero worship. We don't want to put people on pedestals, and we don't want to get sucked into publicity stunts. But this could be BS. But it would be nice to address it. It'd be nice to see, the video of that stuff. If you're going to get everybody riled up on this thing, let's see the evidence, because I would absolutely, we'd go to fucking war for that, right? If the feds were actually just going to crack down just because they wanted to shut them down, that would be a cause for us all to go rally in Austin. But if this is his own personal thing and he's, throwing this money around, and there's issues here. So anyway, I'm just pointing it out. There's different sides to this. Was a big story over the weekend, but there are more details.
We'll keep our eyes peeled. I mean, we're not on the inner circle. We don't have access to the tapes. We don't know. And by the way, they could get shut down in the next hour. And then the story is now just about how another, Trump supporter has been targeted, to be taken out. It's a growing list of people, that's for sure. So, all right, we'll keep our eyes peeled on that.
But
being back Thursday, Blake, tell people where to find you.
TV's Blake Walley on Twitter, and the archive is always on the nextlevelnews.com.
All right, perfect.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brian.
I'll let you go for now. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you. Take care. All right, everybody.
There he goes, everyone. Blake Walley, TV's Blake Walley on X. Make sure you find him. Okay, so if you like what we're doing here at the New American Media, we're trying to figure out what's going on in the world and delivering you a good 60, 90 minutes of content each day. We appreciate you. So please follow us in the following places. TheNewAmericanMedia.com is the hub. On the right-hand side, you'll find our Facebook page and our X feed, which is at American_media_. If you want to do a search in Facebook, search TNAM for the New American Media. You can find a whole bunch of private groups that we run. TNAM Food and Drink, TNAM Humor, TNAM Grow Something. We cover a lot of topics, not just politics and current events, but different platforms for different purposes, I suppose. Also, if you want to support Blake, I forgot to mention that he is on Cash App. There you go. I'll put it up on the screen. It's $ Blake W99. It's there in the blue on Cash App, $ Blake W99. And if you want to support the New American Media, there's a few different places and ways that you could do so. Patreon.com/the New American Media. You can subscribe for like $5 a month, $15 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month. Whatever you are willing to give is all appreciated. On Venmo, I'm at Brian Engelman, ENGELMAN. Thank you so much for that. We definitely went on an excursion to the Bronx and to Washington, D.C. for the Libertarian Convention to see Vivek Ramaswamy, RFK Jr., Donald Trump, so many people, Ron Paul, delivering messages of freedom and liberty in their own unique ways. But, when that's only funded by the person you're looking at, any donation is appreciated. So the other ways to help the New American Media is to follow us in all the places. Truth Social. That's a relatively newer account. Obviously, it's a relatively newer platform, but that's there as our backup. We do post our shows there for the Agree to Disagree show. It's called The New American Media. Connect with us on Truth. On Spotify, the show is, of course, The Agree to Disagree show. Subscribe to it on Spotify. On Rumble, The New American Media. Subscribe. On Telegram, TNAM and TNAM Chat. That's TNAM for The New American Media and TNAM Chat. Instagram, The New American Media. And, of course, like I said, on X at American_media_. TNAM Hugs. No, I don't have hugs yet. I do have TNAM Animal Rescue, and that's about animals hugging people and people hugging animals. That could count. That could definitely help. TNAM Drugas? No. We do have TNAM, not health and fitness. What did we call it? TNAM. Yeah, that's one that we haven't built out very much. TNAM Health, I think it just is. TNAM Health. But yeah, we got a bunch of groups. Connect with us. So, all right, we're going to pause for now. We'll be back Thursday is the game plan. Probably with Blake to give you another episode. So please share this with your friends. Maybe take a moment and pass the show along on whatever medium you use. Tag us, flag us, participate in the ongoing conversations. And we'll sign out for now. TNAM, my man. Yes, Kenneth. Appreciate you as always. To be continued. Be back soon.